Welcome to the Spotlight On series, where we get to sit down and speak to some of the most inspirational market leaders from some of the UK's most exciting brands. We'll learn about their careers, their challenges, and their achievements, all to inspire you to help you grow your careers. Hello, welcome to this episode of Spotlight On, where we're joined by the very awesome Sam Nobes. Sam, tell us about Queensmith and what is your role at Queensmith? Who are they?
Sure. So I'm the brand and marketing director at Queensmith. We're a manufacturing retail jeweler, so we specialize in custom engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry. I kind of joined the business back in 2016. So back then it was just a store, a concept, and the founder kind of brought me in to try and launch the brand, essentially.
Nice. So from inception, basically.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was a really exciting project, really. I mean, he had a very clear vision about what he wanted to do, what he wanted to kind of achieve, and it's very much about the craft, the experience, the expertise. It's quite different, really, because he was bringing the kind of manufacturing side and bringing that front of house. And so you're kind of breaking down the barrier of the back end and the front end of the business, and kind of inviting our customers really into the process. They get to come in and see where it's made, how it's made, who it's made by, and that kind of transparency just it gives, I think, just a real sense of comfort and trust for our customers. Nice. That can kind of come in and just be part of that process.
And what does Queensmith look like today? Obviously, you've been there from 2016. Tell me what the business looks like in terms of its size and.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess so. When I joined, I was, I think, the seventh member of the team. They had kind of got the sales, a few goldsmiths and designers. So it was quite a small team back then. We're now around 75 people. We're across 3 locations in Hatton Garden. Most of that expansion has been around the kind of workshop, because we've got now kind of a 40-strong team of kind of master craftspeople, goldsmiths, diamond setters, and obviously that takes quite a lot of a lot of retail space or kind of footprint to have them in, and the rest is just trying to get retail space for our design consultants to be able to sell to our customers.
So your role as the brand and marketing director, what does that entail? Obviously, it must have evolved quite a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started. I was just brought in on a 6-month contract just to do the website. So it started from more of a kind of building the website, the content. I have a kind of photography and design background, so really bringing in all those elements, building the site, and so. Once it got to the end of that 6 months and, we had the site running, I was like, well, you need to actually attract people to the site. So, it just kind of evolved, and, it was all about, I guess, exploring the different channels that we needed to get customers. And so it's really evolved from, being a freelancer coming in just to help kind of, launch the brand and build an online presence, to really like taking that to the next level and actually building it and scaling it. And doing that with a few key members of staff along the way.
I guess you've seen, high growth over the years, and with that's obviously probably come a lot of evolution within the business. But as a brand now, like, how do you differentiate yourselves? Like, who do you target in terms of your customers, and how do you make sure that you're the go-to versus any of the competitors that are equally out there?
I think. I always had a vision of jewelry companies of being a bit stuffy, and Queensmith has always been more about almost like peer-to-peer selling. Like, how would you sell an engagement ring if you were doing it to your friend? It's about helping them navigate the sort of the pitfalls of buying an engagement ring, choosing a diamond. Let's not forget that it's probably a typically once in a lifetime purchase. So, it's a hugely momentous occasion. There's a lot of meaning around it. And with that comes a lot of stress. Your typical kind of heterosexual, couple who come in, you know, the guy perhaps surprising his girlfriend, he's doing it all under the radar. You know, he's searching online around how to buy an engagement ring and how to choose a diamond, but you know, they're worried about, you know, how to do it, what's the norm, you know, how do I know I'm not going to get ripped off, you know, where do I start with buying a diamond? There's actually so much stuff to learn when you go into that process. And what Queensmith does is just tries to kind of take that stress away, ease the pressure through just kind of guiding them. It's not about hard sell. It's not about pushing them to kind of, you know, squeeze every single last, you know, pound out of them. It's much more about kind of that advice-led approach, you know, inviting them in, easing their concerns, and just saying, well, look, you know, what does your partner like? You know, what is she interested in? Has she given you any hints? And, you know, working out, you know, what are you comfortable, you know, spending on this? You know, because the price range can vary drastically. Yeah. So, you know, we're very good at qualifying our customers very early on and kind of breaking down that I don't know, that concern over being ripped off. So look, it's just, you know, tell us where your budget is. We're not going to try and, you know, squeeze every last inch out of it. Just we'll help you find the perfect ring, you know, for that.
Well, obviously that approach has definitely helped you, as I'm sure the numbers tell, and the size of the organisation over the last few years. So I guess from your perspective, being the ultimate accountability around the brand, the marketing side of things, what have been your career highlights at Queensmith then over the last few years?
There's a real sense of achievement from the very beginning, and you know, watching it grow from watching Google Analytics and seeing 60 visits a day, and you know, getting all the monitoring all the form subs on, you know, a spreadsheet, and you know, that at the very beginning is you're dealing with such small numbers, and then you know, everything that we've done to try and increase the, you know, the brand presence, all the effort we've put into the design, the UX, the, you know, the content, the guides, and everything, and then watching that just kind of grow, and to the point where, you know, now we're looking at like 100,000 sessions a month, and you know, 180 or so, you know, qualified leads each week. I think that gives me a huge sense of pride and an achievement of kind of having got there and done it with the, you know, the team that I've built around me. But I guess some key milestones that really kind of stick out was back in 2018. You know, we just had Queensmith was only open for 2 years, and me and India, who was my first hire, we put in a submission for the UK Jewelry Awards. You know, we didn't think too much of it. We're just like, right, come on, let's go for it. I know we're only 2 years old, but you know, we're quite confident. We feel like we're making an impact. We're new. We're fresh. You know, maybe we'll stick out. And we had a table of 10 of us at the UK Jewelry Awards, nice. And you know, we had no expectations at all. But you know, when they announced the winner, it was just that moment is really vivid. It's really memorable, because it was just like, wow, validation. We've actually done it. You know, the whole table erupted. You know, it was you know, it was a great night, great party. We all celebrated. But that really was the kind of the start of like, right, we've done it for 2 years. We're clearly doing it right. Let's build on it. Let's continue. And that kind of built momentum. And 2 years later, we won the award again for bridal retail jeweler. Nice. And then back in 2023, now we won it for the third time. So it's a multi-award winning business.
I always found out, you know, when we were catching up in the weeks leading up to this, obviously we spoke about how you got into marketing, and I always find that side of things really fascinating. It's like, it doesn't matter, you know, who you speak to, whether it's a marketing director of a big FTSE 100 company or a brand director in a different company. Everyone's found their way into marketing. Most people say they stumbled across it. That's like the very common theme. But you've come from more of a design background, right? And I guess, can you tell me a little bit more about, you know, that transition from what your skill sets were originally to then how you found yourselves in?
Yeah, sure. I guess I did kind of graphic design, photography, and French. at college.
The classic
Yeah,
combo,
the classic combo. And then, I was always massively into photography. My dad was a photographer. I just loved the medium. I think it was the kind of, the use of tools, the aesthetic side of it. And, that was kind of my passion. And I left uni as going into freelance. That was tough in itself. But I mean, I guess as I kind of transitioned through the various jobs I had, it suddenly became, I had a bit of a light bulb moment kind of throughout that journey, realizing, oh wait, I can actually, I can use my photography, I can use my design, I can use my kind of writing skills, my kind of passion for tech and tools, and I can actually put those all together and build a career out of it. And I think, it wasn't until I'd kind of had a few jobs along the way that I had that light bulb moment. And I think from then on, it was a case of, all right, what do I need to do to actually to make this work?
I thought that was really interesting. Again, from the conversation we had leading up to this, was you were talking around, although you were starting marketing roles in various different places, in every situation you've been in, you've always thrown yourself into the unknown and always kind of like made sure that you've picked up stuff that you just had no real experience or exposure to, but actually that's served you quite well. I guess, can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, just lots of hours on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where the transition was most clear probably was back when I was working at a company called King's Education. I was their marketing assistant there, but it was very much it was more of an admin role than a marketing role. It wasn't quite as creative as I'd hoped. It was more on the kind of CRM side and customer segmentation and working on things like that. But in the area kind of just next to me, there was the head of digital, their photographer, the design team, and their marketing director. And so, I was all ears all the time, just trying to kind of, just get a bit of the lay of the land, see how it all worked. And gradually over time, I started asking just for the odd project here and there, how I could help, because I knew that, I could clearly see, well, I really like that. That looks really good. I've got, those skills kind of, but I need to develop them. And so it was more just speaking to the right people and seeing how I could help. Because I had a photography background, it naturally gave me a way in with the photographer. I could assist on some shoots with him. Yeah. Once I'd made those inroads, I could then talk with the designer and just learn about how they manage their projects, and I found that quite interesting as well. But also, the head of digital gave me some tasks around kind of landing pages, and I had in my mind that I really needed to get a few things down on my CV. I needed to tick a few boxes, because if I was going to build a case to kind of land that next job, which was going to be more kind of what I really wanted, which is going to be more around the brand and marketing side of things, then I had to show some key things that I had done, some key results that I'd provided.
And they're not necessarily always going to land just on your table to do. So I guess what I'm taking from that, and I think which is amazing advice for anyone, which is, be bold, throw yourself out there. Don't always, I guess, sit back and wait for work to land on your desk to build the skill sets that you need, but actually go and find those opportunities, offer it, because actually most people out there are very welcoming to support. There is a burning question at the moment for a lot of marketers, which is this, employment versus freelance. There's obviously great money to be earned in freelance, but it comes with its challenges. Can you talk to us about your experiences? Because I'm sure they'll differ from anyone else's.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I guess mine will differ quite a lot to some people's, because I think going into freelance, I think it really depends on at what stage in your career you are going into freelance. My experience was I was going into freelance straight off the back of university. So, I hadn't built up a network. I hadn't built my career, my skill set. So, the commissions were quite far and few between. And a lot of the time I was keeping busy doing things with a friend from uni. We set up a studio at various conventions just because we love portraiture. Really, it wasn't really for the business side of things. It was tough because yes, you would land the odd commission that would give you quite a large payout, if you kind of a per day fee, and you get really excited by that. But I think at the time it was very tricky because, you don't get your holidays paid, you don't get a stable income. It's hard to manage that and go out and get customers, because you have to be, you have to be your marketer, your salesperson, the whole thing. And I guess, I know a lot of people that kind of go into freelance later on in their careers when they've built up their network, and, lots of time they end up working with the similar people they had been before. Yeah. But I think, starting off, I wouldn't personally recommend it, I don't think. Yeah. I think you've got much more opportunity to learn from people around you in a company than you do freelance. Otherwise, it's all on you, and you're kind of you're giving up that opportunity to learn from or find those real key mentors along the way that really help build your career.
Kind of want to touch on the conversation around sort of brand, like your brand and marketing manager. You've come in through a creative background. Many people watching will be, have the opportunity to specialize or to go into performance marketing or to creative or something you've obviously in the particular. What do you see as the kind of key differences between being a brand director and, say, a marketing director?
You can't have one without the other. That's for sure. But, the brand is much more about the kind of, the vision, the mission, it's about the identity of the brand as a whole, and kind of really focusing on building that. It's the long-term strategy rather than the kind of short-term tactics that are gonna drive those customers in. But I don't really separate them out too much, because I don't think you can have one without the other. You can't build the brand without the conversions. You need to draw the customers in so that you've got those reviews, the testimonials, the social proof that actually your brand is worthy and it resonates with people. And I think you need marketing to be able to build that up. I guess it's a bit hard for me to differentiate them, and I don't think you should ever go in thinking, right, I am just going to do SEO without thinking about how that kind of how that works in the greater machine of the business as a whole, not just marketing or brand, but also sales as well. Where does your kind of niche fit into the wider business?
I guess the modern day marketer is no longer just a marketer. They've got to be kind of well versed in multi different parts of the business. So I guess then the last question is if you could give one bit of advice to someone starting out their career at the moment, like what would you say?
Yeah, probably not to pigeonhole yourself, straight away in terms of thinking, right, I'm gonna go down this channel and focus purely on that. I think, try and learn about as many different areas, of business and marketing, so you kind of know where you fit in. Also, you'll open yourself up to potentially things that you didn't know that actually you have a much greater passion in. And I'd say, along that way, just have a real kind of mindset of just, continuous learning. I had that because I had a constant kind of fear of being caught out, or you kind of want to make sure that you're almost like the most knowledgeable person in the room about a certain subject. And so spent a lot of time on various resources, whether it's, Moz to learn SEO, or HubSpot Academy to learn about the inbound methodology, or just YouTube, learning about all the different tools and learning how other people have done it. I mean, especially now, there's such a wealth of resources out there. I'm constantly listening to to marketing related podcasts, whether it's on the way to work, in the morning, in the evening. There's always ways to kind of just continue that kind of learning journey. Absolutely. Build up your experience and expertise, and particularly in marketing, it's constantly changing. So it's important just to keep abreast with those changes.
Great. L was it always be learning, and try new things as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sam, thanks very much. A really interesting chat. That was great.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. For more content like this, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on social.